Well, hello everybody. I just got these live plants delivered yesterday, and I probably should have opened them yesterday. Whenever you get live plants, you always want to open them up and find out what the nursery or the shipper in general wants you to do with them. So, what I got. What I requested and paid for was asparagus crowns, Millennium asparagus crowns, and two varieties of June-bearing strawberries, and they're Sonata and Cabot. So let's open this up and see what you find. Norse is a New England company. They're located in Watley, Massachusetts, and I have had exceptional results with them for everything I've ever bought. My knife's not very sharp. I think I've been neglecting it. All right, so I can see the strawberry plants. And here's the invoice, and 50 Millennium and 75 each of the two strawberries. I'm a certified organic producer, so I can't use this. This is Agrigel. I believe you mix this with water and to help, but this is not permitted for my purposes. And here's the asparagus crowns. All right, so I'm going to use this intro for both videos. So I am going to end here, and we'll just go. All right, so now it's time to plant the asparagus. And for no fault of the asparagus, it has sat on my basement floor, cellar floor, for a couple of weeks now. And I've opened up one of the bundles, and I'll show you what one of the crowns looks like. And so a crown is an asparagus seed that was planted a seed that was planted a year ago, and this is how much it develops in 1 year. So the asparagus actually will go down 6 to 8 feet into the soil. So you want to make sure that where you're going to plant your asparagus, that it's a place you really want it. And you can see these ones here that I didn't open up the bundle are showing the characteristic stems of the asparagus plant. So asparagus really likes a alkaline soil, and so when I plant this today, I'm going to be adding lime to it. And as a certified organic producer, I have to use a pulverized dolomic limestone lime. So that's what I'll be adding in the trench. And I also will be adding this mix of bone meal, blood meal, and green sand that I have mixed up to a 10-10-10 percentage. So asparagus, and you can see this is an older bed here that I planted several years ago, should be planted in a trench. And so I came out here yesterday, and you can probably make out the mark. It's right there where my 40-plus-year-old Troy-Bilt rototiller. And I'm going to be stringing a line just to the right of that and creating a row there. And then I will go over, because I know I have 50 crowns to plant. I'm going to need to make a third row. Excuse me. All right. So I set this up so I can get the rototiller, my rototiller in between the rows and not disturb the roots of the asparagus. And I'm going to be moving the soil from the trench over to where I've rototilled, and on the subsequent row I will do the same thing in this space here. So cultivation, rototilling, has become not, and it probably should have always not been favored as a way of weed control, but it's the most convenient, and I think with asparagus is probably one of the few plants that you should probably actually still use it for, because when you try to use other methods, you're such as interplanting, mulching, all of those things are going to add uh, organic matter into the soil that you're going to have to counteract with limestone or lime, because they're going to actually make the soil more acidic. So I think this is probably one of those cases. If you could find really well decomposed manure, that would probably be a good option. I don't have access to any of that. Um, if you had a lot of compost that you could add lime to it, I think that may be beneficial. But as a general rule, I think tilling is probably still going to be your best bet. All right, let's see how long that video was. 24 minutes. So it took me 24 minutes to do that. And now I'm going to start arranging the crowns in the trench. Before I do that, I'm going to put the lime in. Just basically a sprinkle. All right, let's move on to arranging the crowns. All right. Hopefully I'm not in the way of what I'm trying to show you. So when you plant these, you should divide the crown out and separate it. So here's the crown itself and here's the root system. And when you place it, you want to make sure that they're spread out like this and that the crown is pointing upward. Now, you could go by like 18 inches apart. I would think that that would be a minimum distance. But what I've done in the past and have had really good results is just place them so the ends of one root crown is an inch or two, couple inches, 4 or 5 centimeters from the last. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'll reposition the camera and bore you with some of me planting those. Okay, so for the next step is doing the side dressing with this homemade fertilizer. And again, I'm not really too concerned with like the amount. I don't really think that anytime you plant something, you should fertilize it. There's people have been talking about soil tests, and I get hammered every year about not having soil tests. But I also know that soil is a heterogeneous mixture, and what does that mean? The concentration in any one location is different from any other location. So if you want to have true nutrient value from your soil and from your plants, you need to fertilize. If you're organic, you need to come up with something like I have, or if you're not organic, then you need to use chemical fertilizers. I don't really think it matters, but if you're going to eat plants, you might as well eat them with nutritional value. All right, so a little bit more explanation at this point. When you add the soil back into the trench, you're going to only add a small amount every so often. And I don't really remember what the time period is, but I generally do it by how the plant looks. So you can't fill the trench completely full at this time. And if you notice how when I dug that, it's clumpy and it's very difficult to work. So watering is an essential step in planting. And if I put clumpy soil back into the trench, the soil is not going to get really around it, and the water won't do a sufficient job to get the soil next to the roots. So I'm going to go get my rototiller, and I'm going to rototill very light pass over that mound, and that will beat up the soil and mix it up even better. I didn't realize, didn't anticipate, I guess I should say, that some of the earth would vibrate down into the trench. And I need to make sure as I pull the soil into the trench that the crowns are still pointing upward. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And you could do this with a hoe. And you just want to cover up the crown completely. So there's just a little bit of soil around it. So when you water it, that soil will get around all of those roots. And as the sprouts start to come up, you'll continue to add more of the soil onto them until it gets to the original height of the soil. And that's just a process that goes on for the next few weeks as they start to grow. You probably could add a little bit more fertilizer if you wanted in between each addition, but I don't really think that that's necessary unless you know your soil is kind of deficient. And you could also add a little bit more lime if you wanted to. So I think that is it for this stage of it. I haven't decided how I make the video, whether I'll put it in until I'm completely finished, because this is a good tutorial for anybody trying to establish an asparagus bed, and it might actually be better to wait until I've got it, which will to the original height, which could be the middle of the summer, so for future years. And so remember, I'm going to water this, and you can see how wet this soil is, but you want to make sure that you water in every plant you put in the ground. So I have a swamp, a peat bog, that I try to use to water because it's like a compost tea, and I got this yesterday, and you can see how much it settled out just sitting in the buckets. I planted tomatoes yesterday, and this was leftover. So I'm just going to walk down the row, and I'll wash the lime that you see on the edge down in and water well. I have another bucket because I know this won't be enough. All right, so at this point, there's really nothing else for me to add. It's just more duplication of what I've already done. So 8 days later, I came back and I repeated the whole same process of adding lime fertilizer and adding a little bit more soil. I will do that again
and one more time at least, and to, as I mentioned previously, to get that soil even. You could always add straw to help prevent weeds, but you want to make sure that your straw is a weed-free straw, and it's best if you can get your own locally or grow it yourself, which is what I do. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate sticking through this long video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any comments, questions, please don't hesitate to put them below. And I will have the link to the University of Minnesota's um, fact sheet. So thank you again.